in Ekurhuleni. In Johannesburg, the DA walked away saying it didn't want to work with the EFF, but possibly the EFF voted for the DA speaker who is now in place, Vasco da Gama. We're waiting to hear who will be the mayor. Let's speak to Dada Morero, who is the ANC Johannesburg Regional Secretary. Mr. Morero, thank you for your time tonight. Is the ANC shocked?
Well, we in the morning we had expected that the DA will field its own candidate without support from the EFF. And that's when we then thought that we are good to go as the ANC. Just around 11, 12, the message came through that in fact the EFF will be voting with the Democratic Alliance and Action SA. And once we received that message, then we knew that the tables have turned. And in fact, the DA is on the path of taking the seat of government. So we have already elected the speaker, and the DA won the speaker, and the expectation, of course, is clear that they will also win the mayor and the chief whip. So they will be able to establish a minority government supported by the EFF and Action SA. So we have accepted as the ANC that unfortunately the repeat of the 2016 has happened once again. So we have accepted defeat, and we are ready to go into the opposition benches and fight from the opposition benches. And we think we will hold the government of the Democratic Alliance accountable in the process as an opposition party. We will be an official opposition party. So we are okay with the results. They were not expected. But we know the behavior of the EFF. We're not surprised, but we do know that they will change again. So it's not going to give us a much stable government in any case. So we expect that in a year's period, if not two, there will be changes again in the minority government in Johannesburg.
All right, the sound is not great, but let me try throw in one more question. Are you really okay? Because the ANC had the bigger numbers in Joburg, 91 seats versus the DA's 71. Of course, then Action SA and the EFF came into play. But nobody saw this coming. The EFF voting for DA candidates, not only in Johannesburg, but in Ekurhuleni. Tshwane, tomorrow the voting takes place there. DA already says it has that city. So the ANC has lost control of the big metros in Gauteng. I mean, isn't this shocking for your party tonight?
Well, as I said, it is shocking. It was unexpected, because in the morning we were clear that our side had the numbers. Of course, knowing that the Democratic Alliance will be contesting, and the EFF would have possibly contested on their own, then it meant that would have the necessary numbers to establish government. So yes, we were shocked, but at least we did get the message on time before the voting could start that there's now an agreement between the DA and the EFF and Action SA, and they will be voting together. And so we then prepared our forces as such that our councillors should expect that the DA, Action SA and EFF will be voting together.
Well, the DA says there's no agreement at all. That would mean that the EFF has voluntarily decided to support DA candidates. Has the EFF told you why it's doing this? Or is this linked to what the party leader, Julius Malema, said recently, that they want to punish the ANC where they can?
Well, it could be. And of course, they do enjoy punishing the ANC, and is what he thrives. As long as the ANC is bleeding, he thrives. So we are okay with it, but it also sends a clear message to the ANC that we have to win election and not rely on formation of coalitions. And we have to ensure that where we're not doing right, we do right. And I think that's the commitment that we ourselves in Greater Johannesburg has taken to ensure that we change and reverse the decline in electoral support. So that will be our focus between now and the next election in 2024. So we will be focusing on an election campaign. We do understand where the gaps are and where the challenges are. And one of the biggest challenges we have is really increasing or getting a high voter turnout in our strongholds. So we'll have to focus on ensuring that there's a higher turnout. We are now convinced as the ANC that electoral patterns and votes has now little to do with service delivery, because our record does reflect that we were committed to service delivery. In fact, 3 times in a week, we were in every ward, ensuring that potholes, robots, everything that needed to be done was done. All our mayors were in front of that. Comrade Jolly Matongo, Comrade Jeff Makubu, may their souls rest in peace. And our recent mayor, Comrade Mwerani, were always in the wards ensuring that the service delivery. So it has little to do now with service delivery. We are convinced it probably has more to do with our strategy of ensuring that we have a higher voter turnout in our strongholds, which will then translate into a higher percentage for the ANC. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Does this not suggest to you that something is wrong with your strategy in terms of dealing with coalitions? Because the coalitions are here. The ANC is often accused of being a bully, the big party bully. And it seems like you have made enemies of these other parties that were traditional enemies of each other. You have brought them together against the ANC. Is there not something wrong with your attitude or your approach to these coalition talks?
No, not necessarily. I mean, the EFF presents to us conditions that are unachievable, but it presents no conditions to the DA. What does that tell you? It cut us out.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Dada Morero, ANC Johannesburg Regional Secretary, saying that they were tipped off before the voting began that the EFF would be voting for DA candidates. This is despite a whole DA statement released by the Federal Chair, Helen Zille, earlier today, saying that they didn't want to work with the EFF. That was why they were walking away from a coalition agreement in Johannesburg. Nonetheless, the EFF choosing to vote with DA candidates. Voting for the Speaker in the city of Johannesburg has been done, and we have a DA candidate there, but waiting to hear who the mayor will be. Natasha Piri is there. Natasha, what's going on right now?